What if the Mauryan Empire came back? Imagine a world where one of history's most iconic empires returned to shape our modern era. The Mauryan Empire, which rose to greatness in ancient India, was larger than any other empire during its time and laid the groundwork for unification, culture, and governance across the Indian subcontinent. But how would such a powerful entity fit into the 21st century? Is there a place for an empire that once emphasized centralized administration, religious diplomacy, and expansive trade networks in today's fragmented geopolitical landscape? In today's thought experiment, let us explore what would happen if the Mauryan Empire came back. A discussion that invites history enthusiasts to speculate on the lessons, challenges, and possibilities of a historical revival. To understand how the Mauryan Empire might fit into the modern world, we must first reflect on its profound legacy. Established in 321 BCE by Chandragupta Maurya, this empire stretched from modern-day Afghanistan in the west to the Bay of Bengal in the east, covering virtually the entire Indian subcontinent. It was a symbol of unity, bringing together diverse cultures, languages, and traditions under a single administrative framework. The Mauryan dynasty is most celebrated for Emperor Ashoka's reign. After his infamous military campaign at Kalinga, Ashoka underwent a dramatic transformation and embraced Buddhism. His leadership introduced a moral code known as Dhamma, promoting nonviolence, tolerance, and welfare for all beings. Remarkably progressive for its time, his policies gave rise to infrastructure projects, increased trade, and diplomatic relationships with kingdoms as far as Greece and Egypt. Economically, the Mauryan Empire thrived on a network of trade routes spanning South Asia, Central Asia, and the Far East, making it one of the earliest examples of globalized commerce. Culturally, it was a melting pot, leaving behind artistic marvels, such as the Ashokan pillars and edicts, and fostering intellectual growth in the form of philosophical discourses. So, what if this remarkable empire re-emerged today? What would a modern Mauryan Empire look like? Would it represent a unification of the Indian subcontinent or extend its influence even further into neighboring regions? Speculatively, such an empire could aim to establish a coalition of South Asian states operating as a powerful bloc in global affairs. The centralized governance structure under the Mauryan Empire might be highly relevant today. Chandragupta Maurya famously relied on the Arthashastra, an ancient treatise on statecraft and governance. In modern times, this could translate into a model government that balances efficiency with accountability, fostering regional harmony. Ashoka's principles of tolerance and nonviolence could also find significant resonance. Imagine a polity where conflicts are resolved through dialogue, inspired by Ashoka's approach, making the Mauryan revival a global symbol for peace and diplomacy. For example, a revived Mauryan Empire might take on the role of mediating disputes in conflict zones or addressing pressing crises like climate change with a focus on mutual welfare. If the Mauryan Empire were restored, its cultural heritage would likely experience a renaissance. Ancient Indian art forms, inspired by Mauryan aesthetics, could see a revival in architecture, sculpture, and even media. Traditional Mauryan symbols, like the Sarnath lion capital, are already central to India's identity today, serving as the country's national emblem. Imagine how a resurgence of pride in Mauryan culture could further ignite artistic endeavors and spur public interest in preserving historical traditions. One of the most fascinating aspects would be the resurgence of Buddhism as a central philosophical and diplomatic tool. While Buddhism is a global religion today, a Mauryan revival could position it not just as a spiritual path, but also as a framework for ethical governance. The emphasis on compassion and interconnectedness could inspire policies addressing social justice, poverty reduction, and environmental stewardship. In education, the Mauryan era's focus on knowledge production would shape how we approach learning today. History curricula might embrace ancient Indian texts, empowering citizens to reconnect with their historical roots. Such a cultural revival could foster a deeper sense of identity and unity among the people of the subcontinent and beyond. A modern Mauryan Empire would undoubtedly leverage its historical strength in trade and commerce. The empire's famous trade routes, which once connected Central Asia to Southeast Asia, might evolve into modern economic corridors. Imagine a reconstructed Silk Road funded and supported by a Mauryan coalition, promoting regional prosperity. India, under a revived Mauryan model, could emerge as a major global economic player. The empire might focus on reviving manufacturing hubs inspired by ancient industries, empowering rural sectors, and integrating traditional crafts into the global market. Today's app-driven economy could synergize with the legacy of Mauryan logistics to create interconnected markets across South Asia. Moreover, a Mauryan revival might bring innovative approaches to environmental sustainability. Considering Ashoka's emphasis on animal welfare and nature preservation, the empire could serve as a beacon for ecologically conscious economic development, addressing modern challenges such as climate change and resource depletion. Modern governance under a revived Mauryan Empire could draw from ancient administrative models while adapting to contemporary challenges. For example, the empire's concept of a well-delineated bureaucracy, akin to the departments of the Chanakya-led Arthashastra, could blend seamlessly with advanced tools like artificial intelligence and data-driven policymaking. Urban sustainability is another area where Mauryan ideals could shine. Ancient town planning during their reign emphasized efficient layouts with water reservoirs, public spaces, and trade hubs. This could inspire smart cities that integrate technological advancements with environmentally conscious development. Social policies could also take inspiration from Ashoka's welfare principles. His focus on building hospitals, rest houses, and schools could translate into cutting-edge healthcare systems and accessible education for all citizens. In a modern Mauryan framework, these public goods might ensure equity and uphold human rights in ways that bridge ancient wisdom with contemporary democratic ideals. While the idea of reliving Mauryan glory is enticing, it wouldn't come without significant challenges. The first and perhaps most pressing obstacle would be reconciling the empire's centralized power structure with the pluralistic nature of modern democracies. In today's world, where individual freedoms and decentralization drive governance, could a single empire hold sway? Nationalistic tensions within South Asia could also pose serious barriers. A revived Mauryan Empire would need to ensure inclusivity among nations with long-standing historical and political disputes, such as India and Pakistan. Such a coalition would require unprecedented levels of diplomatic negotiation, trust, and unity. Religious plurality in contemporary times might further complicate the Mauryan Empire's revival. While Buddhism was central in ancient Mauryan governance, today's landscape features a multitude of faiths and belief systems that would need equal consideration. Crafting policies that honor this diversity would be essential for the empire's success. In the 21st century, a revived Mauryan Empire would be a heavyweight in geopolitics. Situated in South Asia, it would potentially dominate regional conversations with neighboring powers like China and play a critical role in Asia's overall stability. This could also redefine India's relationships with Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and Southeast Asia, territories historically connected to the empire. Globally, a Mauryan revival could position this bloc as a counterweight to world superpowers like the United States and China. Imagine an alternate global order, where the Mauryan Empire leads initiatives in resolving international conflicts or coordinating large-scale environmental efforts. It could revive the ancient ethos of peacebuilding through alliances, diplomacy, and shared cultural values. Whether or not such a revival is realistic, there's much to learn from the Mauryan Empire's enduring legacy. Its administration, cultural accomplishments, and philosophical outlook offer timeless lessons in leadership, governance, and unity. For history enthusiasts, this speculative exercise serves as a reminder of how closely the past and future are intertwined. By exploring what a Mauryan Empire in modern times might mean, we unlock insights about the strengths and limitations of historical empires, as well as their relevance in solving contemporary challenges. The thought of the Mauryan Empire returning is both intriguing and inspiring. It reminds us of the rich history that shaped civilizations and challenges us to imagine how ancient wisdom might influence the modern world. While the possibility of such a revival remains speculative, the idea itself sparks conversations about governance, culture, and the role of history in shaping our future. Let us continue to learn from the legacies of the past and in doing so, envision ways to apply them in building a united, sustainable, and prosperous world. So, what do you think? Could the Mauryan Empire thrive in today's world? Could it address modern-day issues of division and crisis, or would it struggle to adapt to the complexities of our time? Let's discuss. Like and subscribe for more from History Twist.